the gems of St. Louis. Oh, it's recorded. And we're going to jump into our first topic, which is life at the Brown School. So currently, we have about 120 international students across our three programs, which is MSW, MPH, and MSP, studying at the Brown School from different regions and cultures. Oh, if our participants can mute yourself, that would be great. Thank you. Students are from Asia, Mideast, Africa, Europe, Central America, and South America. So we do have a big global community at the Brown School. And then I'm going to toss a question to our panelists, which is, out of all the schools, all the programs in the US, what drew you to the Brown School? Or in other words, how did you know that Brown School is a good fit for you? Feel free to mute yourself if you want to answer this question. You don't necessarily have to.
Okay, I can go first. I think there are many factors that actually that made Brown School the best fit for me. One of the things, actually, St. Louis itself, I found it actually a very nice city and very interesting. And like not as the cost of living there is not as high as many other places in the US. Still, you have all the things to do. The city has a lot to offer. Brown schools have had very unique structure for the program. I'm talking about Master of Public Health, making it really heavy into related to the social factors and social studies. And I think having this program with the Master of Social Work and the Master of Social Policy made the program more structured towards just including more social factors and social powers in how to make the best public health system ever, and like the social determinants of health and many other things. Also having like many colleagues studying social work or social policy in the class was really important to enrich the discussions and making them more towards how to build like better society in general, and public is one of these factors. One of the other things actually that there are, like I heard from many of the other international students who came first, especially people coming from Egypt, that it's a very inclusive school, and actually it was very, very inclusive. People are very nice. Everyone everyone feels there, and I felt that you have part to do, and there are many things you can do. And how, like, it doesn't matter if you were different. It doesn't matter if you are not. If you didn't grow up in the US or any other thing that makes you kind of like unique in a way, you will still feel that you are part of that group.
Thank you, sir. That's, I don't think I can add anything. Brown School is very diverse. And I think, like you said, like Midwest and St. Louis is a very friendly city. And some of the people who specialize or major in social work and public health are the most friendly people. So you have that combination of being in St. Louis and having social work and public health people surrounding you. This is a very friendly and inviting environment. So I 100% agree. Does anybody want to add anything?
I can add on to that. For me, I was already in St. Louis. I transferred from California to UMSL. So looking at schools to go pursue a master's degree, it just, WashU was like just always at the top of the list. Like, first of all, the campus is absolutely gorgeous. I feel like also I attended maybe like 5 or 6 info sessions for people who wanted to apply. And the amount of resources that WashU just had was alarming and very tempting. And also going from a commuter school, and for those who don't know, a commuter school is like an institution where you just go to school, go to class, and go home. That's kind of it. There's no like extra curricular. You're not really involved as a student. You just are only involved in the academic aspect. And so attending those info sessions, I saw the kind of outside school life that WashU had to offer, especially as an international student, because I actually looked up the data for how many international students the school had. So all of that was just like part of what persuaded me to go to WashU. But I feel like the Brown School specifically, just the amount of like from graduation straight to work retainment that the Brown School had, that information is also accessible online. So I did an extensive research before applying here. So I feel like that was also one of the motivating factors that if I go there, I probably have more chances of continuing my stay in the US. So yeah.
Thank you, Cassandra. I appreciate you sharing that you did extensive research. I think some people who are either admitted or who are still considering applying are also like considering all the factors, like you said, about the campus, about what are the chances of me staying in the US if I choose to do so. And I really appreciate you mentioning that up, because that's some like obstacles or challenges that's uniquely faced by international students. So I appreciate you bringing that the Brown School does offer a lot of resources in helping students navigate that process as well. I'm going to move to the next question, because we're a little bit short on time, but feel free to add anything at the end or in the chat to our admitted students.
So yeah, now moving on to the next question for our panelists. So like I know cultures can be very different from your home country and the US, like in terms of the academic approach. So can you please share your experiences, your academic experiences studying at the Brown School? Did you like encounter any challenges as an international student? And if you did, what sort of resources did WashU or the Brown School provide you to help you like navigate those challenges? So any of you can just go and answer.
Well, I think I will go for this question. Well, I studied medicine in Afghanistan, and I worked in Afghanistan like just when I was accepted to the Brown School. I just moved to United States. This was my first time trying to study in English, because before I didn't have to. So it was a bit challenging for me in the beginning. I was stressed, and I was thinking how I would navigate everything here. But I want to make sure that if you join the Brown School, just join the orientation, where you can find a lot of information about the resources that Brown School have, especially for international students, and also specifically the writing center that will help you a lot if you are like facing any challenges, and also other resources that you can use, like networking with other students. The program that I really liked was that two peers program, where a first year student can work with the second year students, that you can ask all the questions you have and they can share their experience. So I think Brown School provide a lot of resources, but it's also important that you are aware of your needs and you ask people, because even the professors, the students, everyone in the school are willing to help you. And I think just having the feelings that you need to ask questions, you need to share your problems, what you want to be good in it, and what support you need.
Thank you so much, Mina, for sharing your experiences. I really can agree with you. Like, I started my degree program in English, but I was in Zimbabwe, in my home country. I could just speak my language whenever I needed to. So I was really worried about coming to the US and having to do everything in English, writing papers in English. And I really appreciate you mentioning the Writing Center. It's a resource that I've used a lot, and it's been amazing. There's this writing genius at the communication lab who's called Peter Coogan. He helps you with your assignments, presentations. It's amazing. And I really appreciate you mentioning that. So does any of our panelists want to share their experiences?
Sure. Hi, everyone. It's me again. I feel like Mina mentioned something very important. When you're an undergrad, you kind of get relaxed because you have professors who are like chasing after you. But I think it's also important to note that when you come to the Brown School, even though your professors are very willing to put in the work and make sure that you're coming out at your best, you also have to advocate for yourself. And I feel like Mina said, you have to know what kind of resources you need as a student to make you excel. But as an international student, I will use my experience. Coming from Nigeria, plagiarism wasn't really a big deal. It wasn't even really considered plagiarism. We were advised to go to the internet and like pull sources and literally copy paste those sources and turn it in. So just keep in mind that things don't really work like that at the Brown School. Professors are very extensive about the need not to plagiarize. And like Ella mentioned, you can go to the communication lab and book an appointment with Peter Krugen, and he will walk you through everything you need to do, just so you don't get in trouble in the long run. Because I've seen instances where international students are penalized because like there's just a miscommunication because we're not from here and we don't really know how things are done to a certain extent here. So just make sure you put in the extra effort, listening to professors when they talk about, when they review the syllabus, because there are a lot of important notes in there. Someone had a question. Ellen.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. We're going to like address the questions like right at the end. So thank you so much, Cassandra, for sharing your experiences. And I'm really glad that you mentioned plagiarism. It's something that I struggled with at first because I felt it was hard to paraphrase. If you found something on the internet, how to change that so that it's not really plagiarism was a bit hard for me. But thankfully, the resources are there. Like Cassandra mentioned, there's just so many resources, the communication lab, and on Canvas, we have Turnitin. You can just plug your assignment there, and then it helps you like locate where you might have plagiarized, and then you can just fix that. And then, so in the interest of time, we need to move on. So I'm just going to like add some current resources that we have at the Brown School, like to support our international students. So really the system at the Brown School is very much student-centered. We have like various programs and resources just designed to help like international students through their program. For example, we have the Global Programs Office. It provides support to international students through such things as counseling on student affairs. And if you visit their page on the Brown School website, you're going to like find a list of programs, events, and initiatives that they host to support students during their time at the Brown School and even beyond, like after they've left the Brown School. So I'm going to drop that link in the chat in a bit. And then we also have a career services team. So this team assists students with H1B visa guidance, like after they are done with their program. They also assist with resume writing, cover letter writing, email writing for practicum or job search, like after you're done with your program. We also have the Field Education Office, which supports students during practicum search. And like we talked about, there's the communication lab. That resource is amazing for international students who are like not great or who feel like their English is not that great in terms of writing or even presentations. And then we also have a holistic 3-tiered advising where each student has 3 advisors assigned to them. They have an academic advisor, so that one helps them track their progress to graduation. They also have a faculty advisor who's just there to help you with your career path. And there's also a team of field faculty advisors that help you with your practicum. And now, Felicity, can you please take us through like the specific programs that we have at the Brown School and WashU that are specific for international students?
Those are some resources in the greater WashU campus that are catered towards international students or just students in general. They're free English classes, English corners at OISS, which is our Office for International Students and Scholars, where students get to practice their English, I think, on a weekly basis. We have global table faculty lunch. Those have been going on very frequently at the Brown School, where you get to chat and just networking with other faculties, who had an international background. So learning a lot from how they came to the US and why they decided to pursue what they're doing. We have mentoring programs, so something that I think it's Mina that mentioned. We have a peer-to-peer program at the Brown School, which is you will have a second-year student mentoring you throughout your first year. I had an amazing mentor. He's from Egypt too, and I learned so much from him. And I think that's one of the things that I'm extremely grateful for. Liberman Graduate Center. So this is a graduate center that's dedicated to all graduate students. Mental health services. So it doesn't really matter if you had an international background or not. We have 9 free mental health service sessions with some of the very professional mental health clinicians at the Brown at WashU. And there's also something called Let's Chat. So that's an informal mental health counseling service that take place every week. We have several mentoring, speaking counselors at the Brown School, at WashU in general. And if you prefer to talk about some of the things that you're going through in your native language, this is an opportunity to do so. And OISS, which I've talked about. So now we move to the next question. This is something I think a lot of students have questions about, which is on-campus job or research positions. So the question for all of our panelists is, did you or are you currently involved in any on-campus jobs or research positions? And how did you find those opportunities?
Wow. I will answer this question. I'll start. Well, I'm working as a research assistant with one of the professors who has also an international background, and in an initiative which is about immigration and which is focusing on Afghan immigrants, and how I was able to find the opportunity. I think I gave myself 2 to 3 months just to adjust. I was not looking for a job. And later what I did, because in the first 3 months as international students, you're new with a lot of things. You're starting adjusting, and then you have the opportunity to change your concentration and just to discover what you really like, what you're really passionate about to work. This is what I did. And later that I was looking for a job, I wanted to search about the professors that are working at the Brown School. And I just searched what they do, how is their job. And I wrote to several professors that this is me, and I would like to work with you. And I schedule an appointment with the Career Center that I really recommend for all international students that they want to have a job, because your resume in your home country and in the United States would be so different. I have a very amazing experience changing my whole resume to the US style. And I first updated my CV, and then I wrote to professors. Just I would say that professors are busy, but don't be disappointed. You just give them 1 or 2 weeks. They will come back to you if they're interested to work with you. This is what I did, and I heard back from 2 professors, and then I started working with one of the professors. I had an interview with her, and this was how I got the position.
Okay.
I was trying to find my unmute button. I'm sorry. Cassandra, do you want to talk about your experience?
Yes. I've been in the US since 2017. So on-campus employment is a system that I feel like I've hacked. I feel like the most important step to finding an on-campus job is actually building connections with staff and students. I currently work at the Brown School Dean Suite, and I got that job because at the start of the semester, I think the week of resumption, there was a career fair at the Brown School, and we were encouraged to just go there with our multiple copies of our resumes and hand them out. So I went, I smiled, I chatted with a couple people, I passed down my resumes, and I got a few callbacks, and that was how I got the job I currently have. There's also a resource called Handshake. It's an online resource that the Brown School has, WashU has, and they list like jobs almost every day. So I would say like that's the next best thing after word of mouth to trying to find a job on campus. And also if you have a professor who, like if you take, those of you who are going to be epibio, if you take a biostats class or epi class and your professor talks about, you just have a professor that talks about research that you think you're interested in, feel free to have those conversations with them and see if they have any space for you on their team. Because most times, even if professors aren't able to directly offer you something, they can point you towards someone who is working on something you're interested in. So it's very, very important for you to take advantage of those connections that you build like from the ground running. Like, I feel like it's very, very important for people to be able to have your name at the tip of their tongue. Like, because if someone mentions like, oh, if someone mentions an interesting project and someone's like, oh, I know this student, Cassandra, she's from Nigeria and she would be interested in this. It's that simple. Like, you might not even need to do an interview. So just use Handshake, take advantage of your peers and your professors, and reach out to career services, because I'm not gonna lie, Mina was right. They really updated and revamped my resume. So that was a huge pro. But yeah, that's it.
That's really, really valuable advice. I think a lot of the faculties at the Brown School are so willing to offer opportunity to students. So you just have to like let them be aware of your passion and what you really want to do. And once they have opportunities opening up, they would really like to give those to you. I have my current part-time, I currently work at the medical school part-time, and I got this position from my practicum, which for a lot of MSW students, and I think for second year and PhD students as well, you're going to go through this internship process that's called a practicum, which I don't know if we all have time to talk about today, but that's something that's also, I think, kind of challenging for international students to navigate as well. And a lot of students just take practicum as if they're like study opportunities, but a lot of people actually have received offers from a lot of their practicum sites. So I think Cassandra was really right. Just be aware of that you are building connection with people at all times. And a lot of people may want to open their doors to you in the future. Anybody else want to hop on to this question?
I can go. I worked as research assistant at Center for Health Technology and Policy for almost 1.5 years, and I think it's for an international student. I think it's very, very important to build kind of like an experience here in the US. And we move here, most of us move here with no network, with no experiences. And if you're planning to stay further after graduation, it's really very important to have kind of like an experience working in the US. So it's important for you to like kind of like to get your to get some work done with at Brown School. Especially there are many research centers there, and there are many opportunities. For me, it was not easy. It was not that easy process because I really wanted to work at something related to health economics because I had previous experience or do you have a question? Okay, so I have a few ways. So because I had like a master's degree in health economics before moving here, so I really wanted to work there. And it works through one of my professors. I submitted one of the papers, he liked it, and then he recommended me after like 6 months to the professor I worked with afterwards. So it's really very important for you to build up kind of like network and get out of your comfort zone and talk to people, talk to professors, and attend some of the events that the research centers do, ask questions, talk with the professor afterwards, even if they're not your direct professors in the class. Everyone is really like willing to help, and this is a huge resource that international students need to take advantage of.
Okay. Thank you so much, yes, sir. We're going to move on to the next question.
So now back to our panelists again. So I'm sure like our admitted students are like want to know what the typical day at the Brown School looks like. So could you please like share what your typical day looks like or used to look like at the Brown School, and how did you like balance school, work, and practical?
I can go this one. My typical day at Brown School is quite busy because I would stay in the campus for the whole day only if I have a whole day classes. So I would take my homemade lunch. And after having the morning classes, I would go to the gold farm and to reheat my lunch. After eating it, I would go to the Alumni library. There are many chairs that you can lie down and you can take a rest there. And then I would go to my afternoon classes. After that, I would go home. And if I have any like busy things to do before I come to the campus, I will find some there are many meetings or opportunities that you can get free lunch on the campus. So I always go to that kinds of activities during the lunchtime, and you can luckily get some food there. And I also after the classes, I will go to the go to do some sports. There is a gym. There are gym in the campus, and it's totally free. You can play badminton, table tennis, and do some exercise there. And after that, you can go home. How can I balance my schoolwork and practicum? I always arrange my full day for classes and arrange the other day totally available to do something for myself. So I can finally balance my school and my work and my practicum, because I can put some research things in the next day, and then I can focus on both the schoolwork and the practicum. Yeah, I hope that's helpful.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I agree. It can be busy at times. And I feel like usually like at the beginning, it's a bit harder for you to balance school and work, especially when you're just starting. But as you go along, it gets easier. You just figure out when to do stuff and how to do stuff in a way that you sort of like just find a balance. And I also appreciate you mentioning the cozy chairs that we have, especially in Goldfarb, where I am in right now. There's some pretty cozy chairs. You can just go there and just, when you're tired, just take a nap, because the chairs are so cozy. And we also have some cozy couches even in the library. So when you're tired, you can just take a power nap and sleep. Does any of our panelists want to go?
Sure. My typical day at the Brown School is hectic, but it's also like almost not as busy. It kind of depends on how your schedule is arranged, because sometimes I have classes that end at 8:30, 7:30. So I typically arrive on campus at 8:50, go to work by 9, clock out 12:30. There's also a really good food spot, Coffee Stamp in Hillman, which is where I get like breakfast almost every day. Apart from that, I go to class, hang out a lot with other friends in the program, explore different events on campus. Like she had mentioned, there are a lot of events on campus that come with free food too. So just make sure to look out for that, so you're not like also spending too much money on buying food on campus. But in terms of balancing school and work, I also have a little sister that I take care of. It can be extremely difficult. So you have to map out time for yourself. I would say, especially on weekends, because even on weekends, the Brown School can engulf your life. So it is important to like map out when, have a running schedule of times when your assignments are due, so you're not slacking or lagging behind. And I feel like the most important part is being on top of deadlines, because as long as you're ahead of your due date, the rest of the other things can come after. Like no one is going to ask to check your notes. It's not really undergrad or high school. Like no one's going to ask to check your notes. People are just interested. Did you turn in the essay? Did you do the assignment? That's really it. But for the most part, just staying ahead of professors, reading ahead, and remembering that you also have a life outside of the Brown School. So creating time for social gatherings and stuff.
Thank you so much, Cassandra. Like you pretty much mentioned it all. I really don't have anything to add. I'm just like, yay, you mentioned free food. There's always free food somewhere at the Brown School, and I love that. We all love free food. So in the interest of time, Felicity, I think we can go to the next question.
I think we may have to skip one question just because we're really short on time and I really want to go to the Q&A section. But I think that's kind of pretty much what Cassandra talked about. You have to give time to socializing and building your network at the Brown School as well. But I'll have to skip this question, unfortunately. I think the next section will be Life in St. Louis, which is pretty exciting. We talk about some of our panelists' favorite spots in St. Louis, and we will get a little more in depth into that very soon.
Yeah, so we're now like discussing St. Louis. Well, for me, St. Louis was not my home because obviously I'm an international student, but now it's like a home away from home, and I absolutely love it. And now to our panelists, I know like safety is always a big issue for students who are coming to study. In the end, I know that some international students can be very concerned about safety, especially in St. Louis. So could you tell us your experiences in St. Louis? How did you feel, or how do you feel about being safe here?
I can go this one. Okay.
You go first.
Okay, thank you. Actually, when I come into St. Louis, I Googled it and I found it's seems like the most dangerous city in the US, like top 10. But when I arrived, I find that it's a quite serene city. And I got to understand that St. Louis is a very big area, and there are half St. Louis is in the Missouri, and the other part is in the Illinois. So they are quite different in the two area. As we know, the east and north part of the St. Louis is more dangerous, but around the university city and the south part is quite safe. So I don't think I need to worry about safety a lot when I living around the campus, especially when I lived in the south, because the police and the security in this area is quite good. And so it seems maybe it's difficult for the Chinese international students to understand this situation, because we already get used to environment that everywhere is safe. But here in the St. Louis, it's especially important for you to not go to somewhere some area very dangerous, then you would be safe, I think. So it's a little different. And the second is people here are very friendly. I remember that the first day I come to the St. Louis, I lost my phone and it just dropped in the snow. And I didn't notice that. And after I found that I lost my phone, I thought, oh, no way I would get it back. So I just purchased another one immediately. But after one day, someone in the WeChat tell me that someone find a phone and ask about it. The phone is showing Chinese characters, so it must belong to a Chinese. So they ask about who lost the phone. And my friends told me that and helped me to get the picture of that phone. I found that it's definitely my phone. And when I get a phone, it's also a WashU student, but he told me it's not he find that phone. It's a St. Louis resident who is walking his dog, and his dog find my phone, and he saw that phone is in Chinese, so he just gave that phone to a Chinese student just passed by. So I think that is a good example, and to reflect the residents here is very friendly, and yeah, they are very helpful, and especially around the university city, I think people are very well educated. So you would be feel very comfortable here, I think, if you come. But just do not go to somewhere, some places that be told is dangerous. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I agree. The people here are really friendly, and that was amazing for somebody to just pick your phone and return it to you. I agree. You can experience things like that because mostly people are friendly, and you really don't feel unsafe when you're like around campus in the neighborhoods that like most students live in. Mina, you wanted to add something?
Yes, I just wanted to talk about like when you're an international student in the beginning, that would be hard for you to find a good transportation. So when you're here for the first time, you will hear the stories about the safety. I would say just don't get panic. And when you're living like around the school, it's pretty safe. I live a bit far from the school, so I get the metro link to school, and it's safe. Because in the beginning, it was not easy for me to start using that because everyone was like, maybe it's not safe. But based on my experience, I use the metro line, and I think if you choose a place a little bit far from school and you need to use the metro, so I think just don't get panic about safety of metro, and you would see a lot of students using the public transportation. So it's pretty safe. Yeah, I don't recommend it late at night, but yeah, it's a good one if you're like leaving the campus around 5 or 6 p.m.
Can I add something really quick, Ellen? I will say parking is very much a hassle on campus. So most students are forced into using public transportation, which is very efficient actually. Like the metro is literally on campus and the school has shuttles, but still St. Louis isn't the safest place in the US. So be alert, be very vigilant, be careful. Some stops do not have metro police. So you just want to make sure that you're not putting, like, you don't become a victim of opportunity. And like she said, just if you don't have to use it at night, I would advise you don't. It's better you take the shuttle to the Med campus and then take the metro from there. But yeah.
Thank you, Mina and Cassandra. Yeah, I mean, Felicity, if you could go to the next slide. So like Mina and Cassandra mentioned, yeah, it's a bit unsafe, but it's not really something to panic about or to worry about because like your safety really is a priority. And the university works hard like to create an environment where everyone feels safe and secure. And they offer like a list of services to enhance safety and security. So these are just outlined here on the slide. I won't talk about all of them because of time. So we have the WashU Police Department, we have the Neighborhood Patrol, we have Bay Patrol, and I also want to mention specifically the Campus to Home Shuttle. So this is a shuttle which is available 7 days a week, and it provides like safe transportation, like a safe ride home from campus to your residence, which is off campus, especially at night. Like if you finish a class like at 8:30, you can use that resource to take you home. And there's also an application that you can download, a Moonlight app. It helps you, the Moonlight team helps you, like tracks you when you're going home, and you can use that app to alert them that if you feel like you're not safe or you need assistance. So can we please go to the next slide, Felicity? And then I think this one is a big question and we need to address it. We know that housing is a big issue when you're moving from like your home country to abroad, in the you don't know where to start from. So back to our panelists, can you please tell us a bit about your experience with house hunting? How did you locate your apartment? And do you have any advice for our incoming students around searching for an apartment?
WashU actually has a housing forum on Facebook. So I would say that's like always a good first step, because even if you don't find housing on there, you can find roommates and then look for housing after. But I will say there's like a plethora of apartments in University City, which is where the school is located. But you can look a bit further, look around the SLU area, because SLU is also another big university and they have a ton of accommodation around there. So I would say like just looking at apartments, looking at your price budget, finding roommates, but also most importantly, using that WashU forum for housing. That really helped me, even though I lived with my sisters, but I was also able to connect other students who were also looking for accommodation and roommates in the long run. Students also post housing availability on notice boards in Hillman, Goldfarb, and the Duck. So just also look at the boards on campus to see if people are posting about subletting rooms. Also just having conversations with professors, OISS, they can also point you and connect you with housing resources. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, we have a Facebook page for admitted students. You can join that Facebook group and then just connect with other incoming students and then try to find a roommate. And we also have a Google Doc. If Zizi could share the link to that Google Doc, which you can use to find a roommate. It's very useful. You just enter your information in there and then you find a match. And yeah, you have a roommate. And does anyone else want to share their experiences with house hunting?
Yeah, I can share some my experiences with that. Yeah, there are always some school alumni, like the students who will graduate and they want to transfer their release to someone else. So we can always try to find more information about that, especially with Chinese international students through the WeChat group, and that's super helpful. And also, speaking about the safety, I believe my personal view is that apartments may be a little bit better than the townhouse if you don't know more about the locals. And because if you have something to fix with, then there's some stuff it's a facility department, and the department will help you to fix it. So you don't have to worry about that by yourself, especially you are alone and you don't have anybody that you're familiar with to help you. So that can be a way that you can find help with.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you like mentioning the WeChat. I think Zizi can also drop the link to the WeChat group, which you guys can use to like connect with other students and possibly find housing. And I think we can move on now, Felicity.
our next question is, this one is a bit lighter and more fun. So what are some of your top spots in St. Louis? It doesn't have to be 3, just any of the top spots that you normally go to that you really like, any hidden gems in St. Louis that you can recommend to incoming students?
I can go first. I love the museums and in St. Louis, which are all for free. If you went to the history museum, make sure to the art museum. I think make sure to go to the Egyptian department. You will find one of my grandfather there, one of the mummies. Also, I really love the Also, I really love the first park. I said that before. There are many things you can do there. You can jog, you can play tennis or other things, basketball if you're interested in, and things like that. I love the food in St. Louis a lot, especially like there are many options for Mediterranean food and Middle Eastern food. This is my favorite type, but also there are many Chinese or other other cuisine that you will find in St. Louis. My favorite restaurant I think was Sultan. It's in the Grove. Make sure you visit at some point. I really also love the campus itself. The campus is so beautiful, and there are many resources there. There are many cafes and places where you can grab lunch or something. Also, but I used to go walk in the campus even at night because it's super safe and it was very close to where I live. So these are I think the places I really love in St. Louis.
Thank you, Yasar.
My
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So I don't have like a favorite spot in St. Louis, but I kind of have like a running list. So I'm just gonna like mention 2. Recently I went to this crepes spot downtown and it was fantastic. Just be careful if you do have diabetes. I would not advise that you go there. And secondly, Taco Buddha, which is like 5 minutes away from campus, is amazing. A lot of students go there. Also places like Corner 17 and some boba place, I don't remember the name. High Tea, I think. But those are some spots that students have really raved about so far.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I like to, yeah.
You go first.
Okay. I like to go to the forest park for walking, especially in the summer and autumn. And I also like to go to a restaurant called Bogart Smokehouse. It's a BBQ in St. Louis. As the taste is quite good. I recommend you to go there. And yeah, I'm a person like to staying at home. So every time I go out is just for walking and go to a restaurant. So yeah, that's my spots.
Thank you, Mina.
Well, my favorite spot is I live close to Central West End, so it's a good place to walk. I love walking there. There are a lot of restaurants, a lot of things that you can buy grocery or whatever. And yes, my favorite place is Symphony. And I would say, like, if you're a student, you can get a discount in a lot of things in St. Louis. Just when you're searching for things, be aware of that. With your student card, you can get good discount. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that is super important. Asking about student ticket. We have some amazing venues here in St. Louis, like Jazz St. Louis, which I go frequently. They don't have any student ticket option online, but if you give them a call, they will tell you, yeah, we do. You just have to call them, and it's very affordable. Most of the places that people talk about, like Forest Park and museums, are free, and the ones that does cost money provide discounts to students. So I would say that entertainment in St. Louis is really affordable as well. Anybody else want to add anything to this question? then we can move on.
Yeah, so this one is for like our alumni. It's like about, I'm sure like our admitted students like want to know what's going to happen after they graduate, like how's the job process, stage process going to be like. So can you please tell us, like after you graduated, what sort of support and resources did you utilize during your job search, and how did you choose your current job?
I think I have to go for this one.
Yeah.
Finding a job after graduation is not like super easy, but it's not impossible. I'm here talking from as an international student perspective. It's not easy. You have to start early, and you have to plan for it. Also, you need to keep an eye on like what the market needs and where your skills are fitting. Also, you don't want to get a job that you don't like. It's not really worth it. So you need to start early. Step in when I'm talking early, I'm talking at least 6 months before graduation. I started applying for jobs in December or something, and I was graduating in May. Even that was not enough because COVID hit that year, 2020, so it was even harder. I think you need to start with talking with the professors. You need to talk with the professors at Brown School and even at WashU in general, WashU Medical School, and see like this is like tell them this is what you're interested in, this is what you're good at, and then try to listen to them where they are guiding you. There are many resources at Brown School, especially the career service. The career services center is very, very important. They will help you out with redoing your, like we do the we call it CV. And in Egypt, we do them totally different than the way Americans or the American market is doing. So mine was not useful at all. So when I went there, they totally like remade it from scratch. They have their template. They give you advice. They will go through like what you wrote, try to make it try to make it more like sounding better for a recruiter. Also, I found many of the people, and I did that too. Like some of the students, I think once you have that, I don't know if it's still there, but if you work at campus, I think you have to have the opportunity to keep working for 6 months at least after graduation. And I think this is really important for international students, especially if you're applying for OPT. You don't want to stay without a job for a longer time because this eats from whatever time you have. So that's actually a good resource. If you're working at WashU right now, the research assistant or something else, try to talk to your boss, the professor you work with, tell them, hey, can I just like hang out after graduation for like 2, 3, 4 months until I find an actual next step. And some actually of the students just kept working. They moved into a full-time jobs on campus, and that happened for many of the students, and just worked it out with them. For me, I moved to another place. I worked at Georgetown University first, and I just applied online. Like I didn't know anyone there. Just applied online. I got an interview and I was accepted. One of the things that I really found very, very important, and actually the Career Center told me about it, is if you find a good job on LinkedIn and you're going to work with, or you want to work with, and go to people, and then you will find some of WashU alumni there working for that company, and then reach out to them, like as easy as that. And there will be very, very helpful. Like most of the times I found people very helpful. They're trying to help. Just ask them to have maybe like 30 minutes call or something, talk with them, and then by the end of the call, just you can ask them to flag your resume or something so you can get like a better opportunity for an interview. One of the things that you need to take care of, to be aware of, is if you need to go through the OPT, and the other thing is for graduation, you have to start early as well and talk with the OISS. They have a lot of resources for that. They are very well organized. They know what they are doing. So reach out to them and try to be ahead of time, like prepared with all the documents you need. Sometimes it's actually a bit overwhelming, especially like with the documents you need to prepare. It's not like with the help of OISS, it's not hard at all. You get it done. Also, one of the things, again, if you're trying to find a job, make sure that USCIS, they have a specific requirements for the jobs you can work with, and there are some places that you cannot work with as well. So again, talk with the OISS when you get a job somewhere. Communicate with the person you're assigned to, in just make sure that you're not doing anything that is, I don't want to say illegal, but something that is not aligned with the regulations in this country.
Thank you so much.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Thank you so much, Jessa. That was pretty comprehensive, and I'm sure you mentioned it all because like you're in a better position to talk about this than I. So thank you so much for sharing, and I really appreciate you mentioning career services. That's a great resource that you can reach out to, like with job search. They can help you with your resume. They can help you like with your papers, how to approach that process. And like you also mentioned something very important, which is networking with faculty. The faculty here, they are very willing to help you. Just connect with your faculty advisor, tell them what you're interested in. They can link you to like an organization which aligns with what you want to do. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think we're already a little bit over time, but I do want to leave some space for live Q&A. I appreciate all of our panelists who've been answering questions vigorously in the chat, so thank you so much. Are there any questions that our participants want to ask our panelists? You can just unmute yourself or put the question in the chat. Okay. So one of the questions that we're seeing in the chat is, what are graduates' career direction after graduating from grad school? Julie, can you specify, what specific program are you asking about? Is it MSW, MPH, or MSP? Because I think they do have quite different career directions.
Hello, I'm Julie. I am talking about MSW because I am admitted as MSW advanced standing, and I'm trying to like concentrate on older adults, so I would like to hear about it.
Anybody who want to tackle this?
Hyun, could you please repeat the question again? I know it's like associated with older adults, but I didn't hear the all questions.
Okay, I can ask, what are graduates' career direction after graduating from grad school? So are they getting a job in St. Louis or in the States, or are they going to PhD? I just wondering.
Yeah, I think Brown School alumni generally, not just international alum, they will have different pathways, you know, post-graduation. So it really depends on their like personal interests, the area they want to work on. But if you are particularly asking for international alum, I would say from my personal experiences, I know a lot of alumni, they are pursuing their, you know, PhD in the US or in their home countries or broadly in other regions or country. There are also some alumni working in the US post-graduate graduation, like Yasser or Melissa. Some of them might be working in some you know, maybe research center in higher education. Some of them might be working in hospital, nonprofit. So it really depends. And I believe that Melissa or Yasser can also add, you know, their experiences too. Yasser or Melissa, do you have any?
I am really MPH, so I don't know much about the MSW. But from that experience, yeah, people did like wide range of everything. Some of our colleagues, they went direct to do a PhD. Some of them took 1 year off and they went to PhD afterwards. Some of them, some of the people in global health, they work in like domestic healthcare system. Like me, I worked for global health for a while, and then I didn't like get a job like with the Department of Health. And and this is actually the beauty of WashU and Brown School. They actually give you the opportunity to do a lot of things. They don't constrain you to specific options, but everything, the sky's your limit. You can do whatever you want. I've seen people graduate with epibio, they work as data analysts for like car companies, or I know one of my friends who works for the Trader Joe's. So do anything you want, and with the education you have, with the degree, with the diploma, I think you can get whatever job you.
Oh no, I think Yasser, you're cutting off a little bit, but I think Zizi and Yasser pretty much touch on that, because like social work, because Julie, you're particularly asking about social work, and at the Brown School, you're getting education on both the macro, micro, and meso aspects of social worker. So what that kind of yield is that you can basically go into any kind of sectors after graduate. It really just depends on your own personal interest. Some people want to do direct clinical practice. So if you're in the aging society and older adults track, that may look like case management. For older adults, mental health, that's particularly tailored towards older adults. If you're interested in research, PhD, I know there are people receiving, what is it? It's like research coordinating positions at different universities that are studying older adults care or like palliative care as well. So that's a track as well. But if you're interested in macro work, then there's also management and other kind of work that you can do at nonprofit organizations as well. So it really does look quite different based on your own personal interest. I think we're having some other questions in the chat. Oh, Yasser, I don't even know. I think Yasser was calling in from Egypt. I don't even know that you're currently in Egypt right now. Anybody else want to ask any questions now that our panelists are still here and ready to address your questions? I think I have Eddie. Hi.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've joined a little bit late. I found when the meeting started, and I'm sorry if my question maybe was asked, but I'm so much interested in knowing the possibilities of getting labs for practicum practice. I don't know. What are the possibilities? Is there something I need to do before joining Brown School in line with securing a lab where I'll be doing my practicum? Thank you.
Thank you.
I can answer that. Eddie, are you MPH or MSW?
MSW.
MSW. Well, I don't think there's any pre-admission work that you have to do prior to getting into the Brown School. I feel like maybe the information about practicum is giving some of you anxiety, which it did for me too when I heard about it. Just take your time, relax, because literally when you start at the Brown School, the Office of Field Education is going to be like on you, sending you constant emails with deadlines, reminders. You will have a field advisor. Someone is going to walk you through the whole process. Like for now, just focus on doing all you need to do to just make sure like, okay, you're getting into the door of the Brown School. But in terms of practicum, it's not something you have to worry about right now. Me personally, I'm in the MPH program and my practicum is this summer. I didn't really have to worry about my practicum until February. Just to show you like how you have time. Don't stress about the practicum yet, because it's not like you don't start it like once you start your first week at WashU. It's something that comes a little later. So don't stress about it for right now. You don't have to really worry about practicum. It's just something you have to realize, like, yes, you do have to do a practicum, but you don't have to do any prerequisite before the practicum.
Thank you.
I think if you're doing global health, you need to start a bit earlier. There's kind of like a scholarship you need to apply to, I think in September or something. But you will hear about it like once you join Brown School. You will hear all the instructions and everything, because there's a think there's placement or something. So you need to start a little bit earlier for global health if you're taking the global health track.
Oh. Okay, we have someone asking about doing a career shifting from dentistry. So they have no previous work experience and still would that interfere with landing a job while studying? And they're on the EP bio track.
Hi, Salman. From my conversations with career services, because my undergrad was in psychology and I somehow got into the epibio program. I don't know how, but you shouldn't have any, the US gives a lot of wiggle room for you to switch from different disciplines. So you shouldn't have any problem landing a job in the epibio field as long as you have the qualifications. But I feel like if you're still a little bit worried about that, just reach out to career services. Amber Brown is really great. She will like walk you through the stats of alums from the Brown School who necessarily didn't have a public health or MSW background, but they found themselves in that field. So just reach out to career services. They'll be able to help you out with that hesitation.
Thank you, Cassandra, for the great answer and for everyone for the great questions. I think we're really over time right now, and I don't want to keep our panelists here for too long. So thank you all so much for joining today's International Students panel. We love seeing you here, and we really look forward to seeing you at the Brown School. I appreciate everyone's amazing answer. Once again, if you still have any questions, feel free to reach out to Zizi or the Brown Admission Office, and we have the contact information on this page. And just a reminder that we also have additional Admitted Students Week programmings coming in the next few days. So be on the lookout, and you can have a lot of your other questions addressed during those panels as well. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all.
Bye. Have a good rest of your day. Good night, good morning, good afternoon. And really, Cassandra is right. Don't stress about anything. Just come here. Things will fall into place once you're here. Don't fret about it. People are here for you. You're as ready as you can. Just be yourself and you're enough.
Bye, everyone.